everybody. This is Ruthie of Ruthie K's Inc. and Anna of RK Artisans. Welcome to So Much Talk with SEW Sew. We are talking today about men's clothing, and we're talking about formal men's clothing. Okay, maybe not totally formal, but suits. Men's suits. We at Ruthie K's do all kinds of alterations. We do all kinds of custom sewing. We sew for men, we sew for women, we sew for parents. In other words, kids' clothes. Um, we really do like to do fancy stuff when we make custom clothing. So we do like bridesmaids dresses, flower girl dresses. We do costumes. We do just alterations on men's clothes. We've made men's suits. We like with our custom suiting that we make to do fun stuff like this back here is going to be a women's tuxedo, and this is the lining fabric with a lovely blue satin tuxedo to go with it. So I like to do fun linings. I have done a man's suit with Batman lining. That was really fun. He could even look in his pocket and see Batman. Yes, he was a grown adult.
Grown adults get to have fun too.
Exactly. And that's why linings in our suits are amazing. And what we want to do with men's suiting and talking about men's suiting is let you know that there are certain fits and then there are certain fits for comfort. When you go to a tailor, they may try and block you in to the typical fit. Now, what that means whatever that tailor's told to tailor you with, especially if they're in a store. Okay. Um,
I
as
worked in a suiting store for a while, and the very hip style at that time and in that place was the very, very, very slim fit look. And I had a lot of older gentlemen who did not want that because that was not how they liked to wear their clothes.
Yes. And when I tailor for a gentleman, I ask what he's wearing the suit for.
Yeah.
As a tailor, I will ask you 100 billion thousand questions. I'm not just being snoopy and I'm not just babbling. I really need to know so we know how to tailor your suit. There is a classic tailoring style that many, many, many tailors will tell you. And here I'm not talking tailors in a suiting store like Anna worked at or in a suiting store like I worked at. I worked in a big and tall men's store for 8 years, and we had a totally different style than the store she worked in.
Yep.
Hers was more average sized men and very modern, where mine was for big and tall men. And it was, our store encouraged them to a little more classic line. But classic, when you've been in the business a long time, can change. What most traditional, I'm going to call them traditional tailors, are going to tell you is that the back should be absolutely smooth. There should be no creases behind the back of your arms and in your shoulders. And in a classically tailored suit, your shoulder seam should hit right at the rotor cap of your shoulder. This is how I like a suit to fit personally. Um, your pants should be straight. They should come straight down. There should be no creases. And here I'm not talking creases like down the center of your pants. I'm talking that little wave that creases in
Mm-hmm.
onto the bottom of your pants. It should sit at flat at the top of your shoe when you're standing straight. It should come to the back right above your sole of your dress shoe. That often gives a slanted hem on it. Um, but in modern tailoring, it's all about making that flat. And in making that flat, what happens is you'll end up with a little crease wave, if you want to call it that, a single one, a small one, or a couple big ones. And what's the difference? The difference is that for each wave that you have, you will show less sock. If you have a classic traditional hem, on your dress slacks. When you sit down, you're going to show from 4 to 8 inches of sock. That happens. Always be sure you have really cute socks. They can have patterns on them. They can just be pretty colors or just a superb argyle. Okay. But you got to have a great sock. Now, over fashion time, what we have out there now, and many of you have probably never seen a men's jacket that actually fits the rotor cap. Most of our jackets now are made to where the edge of the jacket shoulder is supposed to be even with your bicep. It hangs straight from
Oh,
here
I see.
down. Okay. It's called a fashion shoulder. And I have seen so few jackets currently, I mean, in the last 10 years, that actually have your shoulder at your rotor cap. What's the difference? The difference is when your shoulder's at your rotor cap and you lift your arm, your shoulder and your collar stay on your shoulder.
Yeah.
In our modern day jackets, and I'll have to get a men's jacket in here from my husband so I can show you, or maybe I'll get him in here and we'll show you, because we are video as well as audio. But when you lift your arms up, your whole jacket comes up around your ears.
Yeah.
That's the difference, because it can't flow with your body when your shoulder goes clear out to the outside of your arm, the
Yeah.
widest part of your bicep.
You're inhibiting your joint.
Yes, but that's a fashion jacket, and that's everything out there is like that right now and has been for a while.
It is very interesting that that's the choice made with the slim fit look, because with the slim fit look, you'd think you'd want it higher up again because number one, it's a closer fit. And number two, it keeps that mobility and range of motion that you lose when you cut your clothing much tighter.
Well, many tailors are not one trained anymore to bring in a shoulder seam or
Mm,
don't like to.
okay.
They consider it a difficult alteration, or they consider that it's changing the structure of the garment.
Mm.
So many of them won't do that. Why fashion chose to do that is because it's easier.
Oh,
It's easier for me to make the shoulder come clear out here to fit more people than it is for me to bring the shoulder in here and try and fit everybody at their actual shoulder spot.
so this is a byproduct of mass production then?
Yes, this
Okay.
is a byproduct of mass production. I'm sure there's other reasons, and if you know them, awesome. Put them in the comments. We love to know these things.
We do.
But I know that those are two of the reasons as to why they are like they are. Um, some of us tailors will bring them in. We will bring your shoulders in. Um, but you need somebody that will do it well. So always get a referral or talk to your tailor a lot and be sure that they know what they're doing. The other thing is there's another way to alter besides making sure everything is smooth and flat all around you. When we alter like that, it's like a Victorian Regency novel. You're going to need a valet to get into your jacket and out of it because you won't be able to move.
Yeah.
You'll look gorgeous. You'll look really gorgeous, but you won't be able to move. You're not going to be able to hug somebody. You're not going to be able to do the YMCA in your jacket, and you're not going to be able to easily get out of your jacket. So you'll have to have somebody help you.
I think I actually used that line on a customer once. I was helping him to fit, and he wasn't a fan of the new modern look. And he's like, "But what if I do this?" And I'm like, "Are you Superman?" Well, no. Well, if you decide to fly like Superman, take off your jacket.
Always take
I
off
was
your
teasing him,
jacket.
but yes.
Yes. But yeah. And so there's another way to alter. That's a practical way of altering. If you are a professional that needs to wear your jacket while you are presenting or
Mm-hmm.
standing in front of a crowd
Yeah.
or dancing, there are things you can do. If you're a dance master, for example, you're probably going to have a special jacket made or found where it's going to actually be stretchy. It's not common to have a stretchy jacket because why would you? But if you got to move, you need a little room, and there will be just a few folds right at the back of your shoulder, right at the
Mm-hmm.
back of your arm,
Yeah.
and that's okay. But we want to take out all the rest of it. If you have a little fold at the top of your collar, we either need to pull that bring the collar down or the jacket up. Two separate alterations, and you'll either have one or the other. And it depends on why it's not fitting there. You want your collar to sit right around your neck. It should sit close to the back of your neck and right around the sides as it comes down into that V. Those are the things that you really need to look for. In a fashion jacket, ideally we want it to hit the outside of your bicep, the
Mm-hmm.
shoulder. That's where it belongs. And then we get down to the bottom of the sleeve, and you have about a 3-inch space that you get to choose. Now, if your jacket comes down and you're playing on with your jacket with your palms, it's too long. It's too long. Please don't do that. Makes me crazy watching somebody present to me and playing with their jacket sleeves. No, bad. It needs to be shorter than that. And so the longest it should ever be is the top joint of your thumb. And if it's that long, it's a casual jacket. It's a sports coat length. That's what the terms for it are. There's probably 5 others too now. I've been sewing for like 50 some odd years because I started when I was 6. I'm really not 105. And that means none of your sleeve is going to show.
Yeah.
The only time you might see a piece of your sleeve is when you're shaking hands with somebody, but you may or may not. Then there's right at this crease. Right at this crease, hopefully your shirt will be short enough that you're going to be showing a 1/4 inch of sleeve, okay? Then it's above the knuckle or the joint of your wrist. If it's that high, then when you have it up, you should be showing an inch of sleeve underneath your jacket. That's called formal. The middle one is called business. And all of those little increments in between can be a spot where you choose to have your jacket, and it's okay. So that's called choice. Just like for your hem, you can have it at that flat spot where your pants are perfectly straight, or you can even have them up by your ankle, the top of your ankle. That's a fashion choice.
Your
Um,
face tells us how you feel about that fashion choice.
it's not my favorite, but I also don't like having 3 creases or 3
Yeah.
rolls in the bottom of your hem. But some people, that's their choice because they really can't stand showing their socks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you'll get the least amount of sock show when you sit down. So those are choice options. They're fashion options. Just like a wide pant leg to a skinny pant leg. Those are fashion options. The classic one is a straight pant leg.
Yeah. Just a quick recap on terminology you may hear when you go to the suiting store, which means how long your pants will be, and where they hit. Break, which is how much of
That's
that fold you have on the top of your shoe, correct?
yes. So you have
Okay,
no break, medium break, and long break.
right. I think of other pleats. Older fashioned pants, they're not very common right now, have pleats in the fabric on the front of your trousers so that you have more room to move and that they lay smoother. Is that correct?
Depending upon your shape, and just because you're bigger in the tummy does not necessarily mean you need pleats. It of
Right.
course does not necessarily mean you don't need pleats. You
Yep.
need to try them on and see what looks best on you.
Yep. Absolutely. Suiting style options. Another one is double breasted versus single breasted, which that is how much your coat overlaps in the front, whether it just has a single row of buttons or whether it has two. Let me think. What other terminology? Because these help you when you're talking to your tailor too.
Um, well, they can help you when you're talking to your tailor. Tailors also have changes of terminology depending on where they learn their terminology, and there's
True.
a lot of new terminology.
There's always
Um,
new terminology, but this gives you a
yes,
starting spot so that you know what you feel you know what you're talking about when you go to the store.
and don't feel ashamed or bad to ask your tailor to explain it to you.
Absolutely.
And if They won't explain it to you because you should never be shamed or embarrassed by the people who are helping you. I personally love to explain things, probably way too much for some of my customers. But I love to educate on how things are and why they are. Currently, we had a short revitalization of double-breasted jackets two
We did.
years ago into the early last year, but I'm not seeing it still. Um,
It was very popular if you're going to do a three-piece suit look. So if you had a vest underneath, to do either the vest double-breasted and the jacket single, or vice versa.
and
Um,
there are some cool people you can follow on like Instagram
mhm.
and YouTube on dressing. I just love this one guy, and we'll get his name out for you eventually. And people send him things like, "Can you dress like Gotham for a wedding?" And he goes to his wardrobe and he dresses it all out. He's this very nice blonde young man who likes to share his wardrobe and clothing and helping people see how to dress in fun ways. There's also on YouTube a guy who, yeah, I haven't seen him recently, but he used to label himself as his show is how to teach men to dress or something like that. It was a simple thing, and he would talk about what size tie to wear with what size jacket lapels. So there really are a lot of social rules out there, but they change varied on what strata of social class you're in, if your social class is British or if your social class is Australian, or I mean, people have different social
If you're dressing for business as an accountant versus dressing for business
for
as a
business.
media marketing associate.
Yes, and there truly are business um podcasts, reels,
Hmm.
and YouTube shows out there that talk about dressing for business, and it can really be a thing. I have some customers who, with their religious organizations, have some very specific guidelines of what they can wear to church and
Yeah.
it's acceptable. But if you're going to apply for a job with the government, don't wear your red jacket
No.
or your gorgeous black and gold brocade. Now, if you're going to the gala, once you've been hired, where you get to meet all the fancy people in the political parties, that gold jacket may be perfect, or that black jacket with gold, but not for a job interview or everyday work. Accountants and bankers tend to shy away from hiring people who dress too flashy. Is there anything wrong with flashy? No, not at all. Now, one of the cool things in Tacoma where we live is we have a lot of theater here,
Hmm.
live theater, and we have a lot of music here. We have a lot of jazz. We have a lot of symphonies. I
Yep.
mean, there we have a lot here where you can dress to the hilt. It's awesome. And selling men clothing to wear to these places and look really great is awesome.
Yeah.
So that they can wear that red tweed with the satin lapels.
Yep.
It's awesome. They can wear a bright colored shirt with their jacket. They could wear a red shirt with a dark green emerald jacket, and it's okay. But it's knowing when to wear which item and which color combinations and all. Um, you can definitely find people to help you with that if you'd like. And there's also the most magnificent accessory for men's suiting that you men all forget. Women, they all forget. You should help them remember, and you should take some of it back. Um, Pocket square. Hold on. I have discovered pocket squares, and I have made a pocket square. I've made a couple pocket squares. So They can be folded in many forms, and you just take them and tuck them in your little breast pocket. Which, I'm sorry, women, they don't put breast pockets on our shirts because we're deprived of pocket squares. This needs to change. I may do so. But as women, we can also take these pocket squares, and I could take this and I could put a little pin on it, and look at that. And if
Yep.
I have shoes this color, whoa, yeah. So I think you and your sweetie should have matching pocket squares, ladies. Pocket squares
Mm.
are awesome, and they do come in all sizes. I tried making different sizes to see which ones I like for wearing with a dress and a pin. I like this size. It's about a 7 by 7, and I have made up to a 20-inch size, which they can come in that too. And for you guys, a pocket square stuck in your little vest pocket, pair of suspenders underneath.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Woo. I mean, it looks really good. So these are amazing little things that need to come back into fashion. And YouTube has tons of ways to pocket squares. So men, suiting, it's amazing. Women love to see men in a suit. Most men actually feel good when they get in their suit, even though they feel like, why am I going to wear this? I can't do anything. You can. You can. Um, be admired at least, right, guys? So those are what I have to say today about men's suiting. Hopefully we gave you a bunch of stuff to think about and get you started, and we'll work at a few more links to share with you and different suiting things to talk to you about. So this is Ruthie of Ruthie K's Inc. and Anna of RK Artisans with so much talk, SEW talk, and have a great day.